I'm Francis. I'm founder of Idalko, which is a platinum solution partner in Belgium and France, and also a premium add-on developer for the table grid editor, Excelate, private gadget, and a full screen dialogue. We have been established in 2011, 32 colleagues in total today, and well, that's Idalko. But so let's now dive into Excelate, and why do we have created Excelate? So maybe an obvious question, but who is Jira? Who is Jira user? Who is not? You are, okay. All right, so everybody's using Jira for some purpose. So internally, you're organized, you're setting up workflows, you assign issues to people. You know what your project is like, and you know what the bottlenecks are. You know how much time that you spend on issues. You know what the information is which is relating to the issues itself. You have a process internally. But the fact is that you also work with other companies. You work with your suppliers, with your customers, with your partners for some reason. Yeah? So everything is connected to everything. If you want to make a product, if you want to have a good IT service environment, well, you have to work with other companies. That's a fact. But that has a couple of challenges. For instance, you have a problem. Someone raised an issue, and you have to call your supplier. So what do? You call the supplier, or you send an email, and you say, well, we have this problem. And the thing is that you're not sure if the supplier has picked up the information, or what information that he did pick up. If you want to know what the status is of that issue that you raised with your partner, you have to call again. It's really difficult to know what the status is of your project. Who is recognizing this problem? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So many people are using email. But everybody knows email is evil. It's really complex to collect the data. You send a mail to A, but actually B needs to receive it, or the way around. Coordinating project is impossible because you're sending mails to 10 people there, 20 people there, and getting a good overview of what's going on is a nightmare. So many companies are then saying, well, okay, email is not a solution. Let's decide which Jira are we going to use. Your issue tracker or my issue tracker. What's the consequence? That the people who have to work on the other issue tracker need to learn that environment. And that information is also lost, because if you then want to have a status, well, you have to follow the guidelines of that configuration. Also, if you have to work with multiple partners, and every partner says, you will work on my Jira, you end up to have your Jira, your information spread out all over the place. So that's not really a solution. It works when you have only one partner, but if you have multiple, it gets really difficult. So what happens is that information clutter equals business clutter. Because in the beginning, it's really simple. Hey, John, I sent you an email 2 weeks ago. When are you going to take care of it? And then a week later, you have to call again. But John sent a mail back asking for extra information. And after a while, this just discussion ends up in a business problem. You're going to lose quite a bit of time and discussions to know what the status is of your project. So information clutter equals business clutter. Now, if you see, everybody has a smartphone. Everybody is exchanging information with your smartphone, with WhatsApp, name it. You have contact information. If you add a new contact in your smartphone, you will find it back on your desktop seconds later. So synchronization is a technology that's being used day in, day out by everybody. So you might wonder, why aren't we using synchronization to solve that business clutter problem or information clutter problem. Yeah? So why is real-time synchronization a solution? Could you imagine that you can connect all your Jiras together and that you just can escalate an issue from your Jira to the next Jira and keep all the information up to date? Imagine. Yeah? So all your crucial information is always up to date. Your partner knows what the issue is, what the current status is, or the way around. Also, you're working in your own environment. Your Jira with your setup, and your partner is working with his Jira with their setup. And the synchronization will make the translation between one Jira and the other Jira. And also, it's more easy to keep track of your project. Imagine that you are synchronizing with 10 different partners, so you can extract one report over all the different projects, what the status is, independently where it's being run, locally in your company or with your partner. So you have some scalability also there. There's quite a bit of benefits on synchronization. So let's do a small demo. Okay, so I got a blue Jira and a red Jira. Do you know? Do you expect it? Okay, so what I will do, I will create an issue and I will escalate that issue to the red issue tracker. And we will keep the information synchronized. So, okay, create an issue, hop, done. That was quick. All right. So now I'm going to escalate the issue to the red issue tracker. And escalate, and that's the name of our product, is a wordplay on escalate. So our customers are actually using now, I escalated this issue to you as a verb, which is kind of funny. Yeah? So there are different ways of starting that synchronization, either as an operation under the More button, or as a post function in a workflow transition, or as a JQL for automated escalation, or also via an API. This is getting a bit technical. But what's the effect when you escalate an issue is that the whole issue will be packaged as a message and sent over the wire to the red issue tracker. And you will see on the bottom right what we call the sync status panel, providing you the information of what's going to happen. So when you escalate an issue, you will see it in progress, and once that it has been synchronized, you will see a link to the issue that has been created on the other side. All right, let's have a look at the issue. And of course, this is a really simple issue there with just a summary, and that's it. Of course, that's not realistic. But the fact is that now these two issues are connected to each other. We call them a twin because they can synchronize. And all information that you want to synchronize can go over that relation. So for instance, if you add a comment, like here. Okay. It's kind of funny, I have two screens. The next time we will have synchronizing between the two screens, right? Okay, so that information gets sent over. If we then have a look at the other side, on the blue side, you will see that the comment arrived. Yeah, so you see it's in progress. If you now refresh again, you will see that the comment arrived at the other side itself. Yeah? And it's bidirectional. Of course, you want to have a dialogue between the two sides, and you want... Huh? Yeah, indeed, check Google. And that arrives there. So what you see is you have one issue, one problem, one thing that lives on two different systems. And Xlate will ensure that all the information gets exchanged between the two. But if you talk about synchronization, you don't talk only about issue synchronization, but also about field synchronization. It is really important that if you have like a drop-down field on one side, you also want to have a drop-down and you have a drop-down field on the other side, that synchronization happens. For instance, if you add a field on the left side, then that field can also be added to the right side. For instance, if I now edit this comment and I add please, because check Google, okay, I can understand this answer. Hop. Then I go over there. You will see that the corresponding comment will also be updated. So your synchronization solution, there's a question, yes?
Yeah, I can interrupt you. Can you set up more instances on the other side? So can you accelerate not just for one project and not just for one chip?
Yes, you can. You can have multiple connections, and every connection can cover multiple projects. Yeah. For instance, one of the use cases is you have a service desk project on one side and 10 software projects on the other side. And then you want to decide in what software project that corresponding issue or that twin issue is being created. Yeah. All right. So, okay, so you have an issue which lives on two different systems and two parties who are working together. But then that's not sufficient in your synchronization solution. You need to establish some kind of workflow orchestration because no team is working alike. And that's one of the really more difficult things if you look at synchronization is to get an agreement how teams are working together. We have had a case where we had two teams who worked together for 7 years, and they wanted to start to synchronize their JWS, and they came to the conclusion that they didn't know how they work together. So we had like 7 meetings about defining what does it mean that an issue is resolved, or what happens if you reopen an issue on one side or the other side. It took much more time than implementing the synchronization itself. Yeah. So there, if you would set up a synchronization project, take time to really understand how this is going to work, how this orchestration is going to work. Now, once that you establish such an overview, like on the blue side, I have this task management workflow. And on the red side, I have a really standard to-do in progress done workflow. Yeah, as you can see. So the developer then decides to start working on the issue. That information gets sent over to the blue side. And what happens over there, you will see that the status of the issue, the status will change automatically to remote progress. But also you will see that there's a custom field, remote assignee there, which is set automatically the moment that the remote progress is transitioned. Okay? So with a solution like Xlate, you can synchronize any object, versions, components, users. We had once the request that, okay, we have a service desk on one side, a software on the other side, and they wanted that every user known on the service desk it was also known on the software side. So, you know, with service desk, customers can just create accounts very easily. So what happens is the moment that a new user, the moment that the user was not known on the software side, the user was created automatically by Xlate itself. These are typically type of use cases or tactical use cases that you will have to implement. We do like also epics, sprints, issue links, ranking. Call it we can synchronize it. Okay. But of course, okay, that's a solution. Xlate is a solution. There are other solutions on the market itself. And sometimes people are asking us, what is a good issue tracking solution? And then I will tell this story. You have to look at some characteristics. You have to look at what we say flexibility, autonomy, reliability, and support. So what does it mean? First of all, flexibility. Can you imagine that you have a solution where you connect with 3 different partners, and then you have to connect with a 4th partner, and that partner has a completely different use case. And you want to implement that use case, but you can't because your solution that you choose doesn't cover that use case. So what do? Do you throw away the one, yeah, to find a better one? That's kind of hard, because then you have to negotiate with this. So what we say is the solution that you choose must be flexible. It must allow you to implement any type of use case itself. For instance, I pointed you to the remote assignee a moment ago, which is the name of the person handling the issue and his email address. Okay, so now I change it to one of our colleagues. Okay, that gets synchronized, and if we then look at the other side, you will see that the remote assignee changed to Brad Pitt. Okay, so but including his email address. So it's really a simple use case, but really important for this customer, because he wants to know who is handling that issue. So how do we implement it in Xcelate? We provide you with a scripting environment, allowing you to define how the synchronization happens. Yeah, and I'm seeing some reactions there.
Yeah, powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, well.
That's like, I think Adaptavist has a bit more experience on that, but that's like handing a loaded gun to a child, in my opinion.
Okay, all right. So here you can see how this is being implemented. I know it's scripting, and it does look complex, but it's not like a complete software architecture that you need to put in place. It is scripting still, yeah. And there's quite a bit of documentation available how to do it. Why do we think that Xcelate is future-proof? So we have a very simple sequence of implementation of a synchronization. You start with a predefined template, and then you add additional functionality as required. You start with summary, description, comments, and attachment synchronization, and then you say, oh, I need to synchronize the remote assignee, and then you add some code, which is available on the documentation side, and so you can evolve your solution as required. Yeah. Also, the scripting engine, like you were saying, like Script Runner also, our scripting engine has access to all the services in Jira, and so you can extract whatever information. Lately, we had this question about synchronizing end-feed fields, which is really specific with REST APIs and hop. And, well, you can implement this type of synchronization also. The thing is, Xcelate also provides synchronization with other types of issue trackers. We are supporting HP Quality Center, ALM. We're currently working on ServiceNow, Salesforce, and new connectors are coming up, allowing to implement this type of synchronization. If you have a customer or a partner working with ServiceNow, you will be able to use Xcelate to synchronize with their environment. World-class support, I had to put, well, we are a bit modest, as we say. There's documentation, there's extensive documentation how to implement synchronization. Many different use cases. If customers are coming with new use cases, we'll document it there so that you can also benefit from that knowledge. And you can implement almost any sync case. For instance, one of our customers was saying, you know, when you have a service desk and a software synchronization, and it's sometimes really difficult to say, well, this comment created by the developer, is that something that the customer can see or not? Yeah. So the customer said, well, if the comment starts with "dear," then it can be public. If it's not, then it should be remain internal. Well, that's certainly possible. So some people are saying it's as flexible as Jira itself. As I was saying, we were really modest there. Next, so I was saying flexibility is important, reliability is also important. There are many different components in synchronization that can fail. Your permission schemes can be changed, your firewall can go down, your network can break, your database, name it, everything can break. So what are we doing to ensure that any synchronization will happen whenever all the components work? So we sabotaged our configuration, and then added a description. And you will see that, one moment, you will see that the user, so if an error occurs, the user will see that there's a problem. And that's important. It's important that the user knows that not all the information has been sent over. As an administrator, you will be able to access the error and see what the root cause is. For instance, if your firewall is down, or more, something that happens a lot is that the other side is upgrading their Jira. Then you will see, okay, there's no connection, and then you will be able to retry that synchronization. So what will happen, so you access the error that occurred. I will now rectify the failure. Okay, we go to the code. Come on. I like these videos. Get the failure out. Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah. Was it always that easy? And then go back to the errors and resolve and retry. So what will happen is Xlate is a transactional synchronization, has a transactional synchronization engine, meaning that when you do one single synchronization, it's broken down in a number of steps, and every step in that transaction can be restarted. So you can pause the step and restart. And that allows us to continue whenever something fails. Yeah. Also really important is the change order is respected. You want, if you change an issue from open to in progress to resolved, you want that these changes are applied in the same order on the twin. And also we support unxlate. Unxlate is, so you're synchronizing two issues. At a certain moment you say, well, it's not important anymore, and so you remove that synchronization on the issue level itself. Okay? So we have flexibility, reliability. The third one is autonomy. You don't want to paint yourself in a corner. What does it mean? We had once the case, we had a relation between 3 issue trackers, A, B, and C, and we had a problem on A. But we could only solve that problem if we upgraded the environment. But we could only upgrade the environment if B and C was also upgraded. So we had quite a bit of meetings with all the parties to say, okay, when can we do the production upgrade? All at the same time. It was a nightmare. Yeah? You want to ensure that your systems are loosely coupled so that you can change your own configuration without affecting any of the other synchronizations itself. So autonomy is really important. Yeah? So I'm getting to the end of the presentation. What I wanted to tell you is, if you are thinking about synchronization, there are 4 things which are really important. That's flexibility, autonomy, reliability, and of course the support that we can give. That's Xlate. Again, the most flexible synchronization tool on the planet. As we say, we are modest. Thank you.